Good day everyone, Dactablab here. So, to quote a certain train, before we start, I would like to apologize for the previous entry in the Ian voice videos. I was a bit sick and my throat was sore, so all I wanted to do was getting things done as swift as possible, which I think resulted in the least developed of all of these videos. From now on, I will be doing better, properly developing my ideas and reasons behind each spot. Also, I would like to keep better track of these releases, so I don't have to make a whole video full of the voices I couldn't add to the list. I mean, there will be some left out still, but I will try to keep them to a minimum. With that explained, let us start. These are the top 5 Mistuned and best Ian voices in Arknights, 6th batch. Also, while I normally ignore characters yet to be released, I will be making an exception for these two, as their banner is just around the corner, and it helps me round up the list of candidates to 15. Same rules as always. 2 lists about the Mistuned and best English voices in Arknights, based on how much they feel like their characters. Let us start.
There's a letter for you from the Lungman slums, Doctor. A former patient? Your expression tells me pretty much exactly what's in this letter. I use this sword to fight beasts that slip into the village, as well as bandits and thieves. For beasts, it's just a matter of driving them away. But people, it's hard to keep them from going astray. There are villages that don't even appear on maps, relying on messengers to communicate. I used to follow the ones who came to my village around, and even learned my first words from the stuff written on envelopes. But I had to grow up before I learned how much those few words meant. You know, I haven't been to that many places. I've wandered between the mountains and cities and seen people suffering from hardship, helplessness, and stress. This is a vast land, but how many people live in its nameless corners from birth to death, with no one ever to know they existed?
Something I've said in previous videos, yet it comes into full effect this time around. Choosing 5 slots for this side of the list was harder than ever. At this point it's obvious that Hypergrid has gotten a firm grasp of what makes a good voice work, and as such, I felt like having to cherry pick those with slightly off performances in order to fill this list. And even then, I cannot deny they are great performances in their own right. Just a couple of discrepancies we will be looking at. For starters, Windchime sounds like someone who had seen and experienced a lot of heavy things, getting nostalgic and remorseful when reminiscing about her past, yet still managed to move forward. A great interpretation by Vivian Liu, and while that is not a bad take on its own, there is a slight lack of awe and wonder to her voice. While reading her files and finding clips of her JP voice, what little I can find, she does have this thirst for adventure and exploring. You can tell how Windchime's conviction shines through in JP rather than in her EM performance. Because of this, I'm afraid the legal big messenger had to open the first spot at the Mistuned side of the list.
I'm keeping an eye on our surroundings. So far, everything seems fine. I'll have my revenge, even if I must lose my life for it. My clan, my friends, they all perished in the woods of our hometown. The only ones who mourned them were the trees, which gave unto them their leaves. Meteorite. We used to be friends. On the day my hometown was destroyed, we were part of the small group that managed to escape. Since then, I've never stopped searching for the traitor who led the rebel army to our town. Could it be Meteorite? No, it couldn't be her. Oh, did I fall asleep? Sorry, I've been spending more time patrolling these days. It's fine, you say. But, thank you for caring. I'm not used to being in a room with so many people. Please don't touch my antlers. It tickles.
This is a great performance. And it's only number 5. Despite how little she had been used in Arknights merchandise, Firewatch is one of those characters just waiting for her character to fully develop and her story to shine, slowly building up the conflict behind her revenge. And thanks to Gemma Moore, I can totally feel how much this revenge drives her life. Subtle enough to be believable, yet not overbearing. You see, it could have been easy to just up the angst to 11 and call it a day, but that is not what we hear here. You can tell how Firewatch is slowly letting go of her emotions while focusing only on getting her revenge, as the cold fury slowly piles up, waiting for that moment to pull the trigger. Yet also, you can hear the remnants of her past self, the warm girl she used to be, which sometimes manages to shine through some shy and awkward moments. I can fully believe this girl is being eaten away by vengeance without going full emo about it. A perfect choice to start with the best side of the list.
I'll protect you, as I've promised, but it'll take some time before I can read all the words on these documents. Don't worry, I'll get there. You have to be prepared out in the wastelands. Always carry flint for starting fires, a weapon for self-defense, and fabric to use as a water filter. No flammable items in the office? But what if there's a power outage? Oripathy is not a rare sight in my tribe. We only think the stones that grow from the skin. They look like the stones we dig out of the earth. There are already so many things that can kill you. Why persecute someone for a disease? That martial arts master is here too. I thought he was cold and heartless, but now I kind of understand him. A man who has lived for so long and traveled so far can only carry so much. That must be what Shifu thought as well. I'm used to the darkness. Oh, there's the light. Would you like to go out for some fresh air, Doctor?
Here we have a bit of a continuation of what happened with Windchimes. Judy Alice Lee did a good job portraying this stoic and hard-headed warrior. Yet I'm afraid this is where her performance ended at, letting out her more awkward and gentle side. This scene of the trailer clearly showing that side of her, which I found a bit surprising given how Miss Lee also delivered a more lively performance with Ivona. To such a degree she was also a runner-up for Best 5th in the past video, yet she sounds way too contained this time around. If anything, I think her performance in Hades 2 might have influenced her a little. Regardless, it is because of these reasons that Jen Jun earns her spot as number 40 in this list.
If you didn't have the time to get to all these files, why didn't you come ask me for help? I would have been more than glad. Anything you'd like of me, Doctor of Rhodes Island? If it's in my power to deepen our bilateral trust, then I would be willing to stop gazing out at the window scenery and focus a little instead on whatever it is that's vexing you. Shame you're short on people with a shrewd eye for Londinium affairs. I was quite curious what they'd think of me. After all, a medical organization like Rhodes Island, unaffiliated with any nation, opting to work with us? Either you did it out of sheer idiocy, or if not, then you must have known a little too much. Reed. Such a darling code name. I can practically guess what was on her mind when she came up with it. Still, I'd be more the fool for claiming the prospect of a book club partner drove me here. She just happens to be somebody very useful, hence my need to protect her. I've gone through the files on my desk. Not at all surprised Rhodes Island would be going after my true reasons for coming here. That said, you were kind enough to drop the papers off with me. You must not be planning to boot me out anytime soon, let alone hand me off to a duke. So, what is it you want me to do for Rhodes Island? Or perhaps for you? If you're free, we could always chat about your bookshelf. Hello, Doctor. Cup of tea? Ah, was something the matter, Doctor? Do tell.
Gonna be blunt here. At first, I didn't like this performance, as it felt as a slithering version of Hermione Granger. Someone incredibly smart and smug, talking really slow so you can understand her. But the more I think about it, the more I realize, well, that's Harmonie in a nutshell. Not to mention the smugness is just at the right level. Not too much to make it obvious, yet not too subtle to pass unnoticed. You can tell she's mocking the hell out of you in her mind. Yet she's so eloquent and elegant in her words, you cannot call her out for it. Lexi Fontaine's voice brings to life our mischievous spy in all her glory, and if she doesn't go any higher, it's because of how great the next entries are, leaving Harmonie's smug as number 4 of the best side of the list.
I advise you to keep at least 2 meters away from me, for your own good. And of course, you shouldn't speak to me either. I don't want you to be the next victim of what's after me. If I'm allowed to stay by your side, the same misfortune will befall you. And that's trouble for me, too. My long hair looks good? Oh. Well, thank you. Would you like to feel it? It should have a soft touch. I'm confident of that. Ah. You just don't know when to give up, do you? I suppose I have no choice but to defend you with all my might. When you finally made the long journey through the dark, up to the water's surface, your eyes dazzled by the sparkling stars all over the sky, your cheeks soothed by the cradling waves, your tears seep into your mouth. They have the same salty taste of your home. Compared to all that, the bathtub at Rhodes Island is so tiny and puny. I'll have to show you my home someday. Doctor, you fell asleep? Rest well then, and may you never see your dream eroded by sea waves. Put me in a room by myself, please. Never let down your guard, Doctor. As I am now, will my presence inconvenience you? Will I remind you of past miseries? I long for being with you. When the time comes, we will leave this place together. Okay? My former friends tried to grant me my eternal rest with their hands. They refused to confront their true selves. But I do not resent them, and I could not hurt them, even if they rejected and attacked me so vehemently. Perhaps everything I did was bringing them harm. My regrets died along with them. This box? My past lies within it. The fragments of my past. Fractured as they are, they still suffice to tell that I am not an empty puppet, that I am not a phantom. Gradually, I was reborn into what I am now, bit by bit. Why am I still wearing this hat?
Here we have an inverse of what happened with Specter and Specter Alter. Christina V was chosen primarily to voice one of the versions of the character, instead of having both into consideration. You can tell how great her performance is when giving voice to the corrupting heart, perfectly balancing the caring and enticing part of her, while also adding an otherworldly mysteriousness to her tone, which only makes it more obvious how little she understood regular Scuddy. While her kindness is still there, she sounds more militaristic. Yes, she is a soldier, but that's not how her character is written. This translates in a performance mostly devoid of emotion, instead of the troubled warrior trying to limit Sage's emotions. If anything, she sounds more like Gladia. However, and because of how great her performance is in the alter form, I can't place her anywhere but right at the middle of the list.
Sorting files, serving tea, and transcribing meetings? Of course, I'm at your disposal. Come to think of it, in my first mission, I also approached the target under the guise of a secretary. 1 week later, I'd hollowed them of all valuable intel and torn their influence down to rubble. If you don't trust me, you have permission to search my briefcase and ascertain whether any data inside is critical to Rhodes Island. The Curio Collector's Guide to Antique Appraisal. Learning material for skills required under certain guises, nothing more. Certainly not a personal interest. Pardon me if you wanted specifics, but no comment. I'm working on a puzzle. Sorry, please be quiet for a while. Your voice is disturbing the pieces. Rhodes Island's doctors constantly limit my usage of Originium arts. Aside from ensuring my condition doesn't worsen, they must be concerned that I'll cause some sort of uncontrollable accident. You can put your worries to rest, I know my limits. But, nevertheless, thank you for caring. No pending intelligence work for the moment. What a rare break.
Like Harmonie, you can tell how smart he knows he is, yet he manages to keep his arrogance in check. Rather, you can tell how much he prides himself as a spy, not in a double-O kind of agent, but rather in how subtle and unassuming he can be. Yet at the same time, you can tell how he still has his own quirks and preferences, be it gathering intel, puzzles, or antiques. But above all, you can tell he is determined. While Harmonie acted out of curiosity and personal interests, like a good cat, Puzzle does it out of duty, which comes in the voice as a hard-working and proud spy with a panache for philosophical soliloquies. But he also sleeps from time to time when having to look after what he calls a bunch of children. Simplistic in his approach, yet brilliant in execution, Koi Dao delivered the perfect spy right into our ears, earning him the 3rd place in the best side of the list.
I can offer you protection and even handle a little business for you. But you'd better prove it's worth my time. Rhodes Island's work in Lungmen will remain confidential, but I know that your actions saved lives. I've spent a long time trying to gauge just how trustworthy Rhodes Island really is. As for my conclusion, I trust you had no trouble setting up your office in Lungmen. I'm sure you've been working with Mr. Lee. You can trust the information you get from him. But there are limits to what a private investigator can do. If you need something outside his purview, you come to me. Don't worry. My methods won't send any trouble Rhodes Island's way. I just saw Swire here. It surprised me how she was working so hands-on. If we'd followed the dreams we had as kids, she would have become the head of Lungmen's Chamber of Commerce. And I might be a university lecturer right now. No, I don't need to say hello. Given her status, it would be inappropriate for us to be seen in public. I had nothing to do, so I trimmed the potted plant on your desk a little. No matter how busy life is, we can't forget our aesthetics. Why are you so surprised? The 4 arts, flower arrangement, tea ceremony, they were all part of my education. You would never have guessed? Shinso.
Obligatory, it is a great performance, yet it falls a bit short. Elegant, calculated, and in control, without falling into arrogance or pride. A good take on the future and honorable leader of Lungmen's underworld. Yet her performance is too under control. Ling is someone who has a lot of responsibilities on her back, which can be felt in her performance. Yet she also manages to let her more gentle and sometimes emotional side shine through little actions and phrases, which sadly didn't translate when voiced by Artemis Snow, who seems to have focused only on Ling's pragmatism, though nowhere near as terrible as in previous voice works where they focused on a single aspect of a character. Thus, this wouldn't be judged so heavily had it not been for a single delivery made by Mrs. Snow during the 3.5 anniversary transmission.
I'm going to... Well, you know what? I've got my own pictures. Amiya, give me a moment to look for them.
Here we can hear that she can tap into the more emotional side of Ling, if she so desired. Yet the final product completely lacks said energy, even when in combat. Because of this miss, I cannot give her other spot than the second Mistuned. However, should Ling get an alter, I wouldn't be surprised if Miss No manages to deliver an improved performance.
You would like to be my kung fu recorder? The way Rhodes Island treats its guests truly moves me. It is no wonder my sisters love this place so much. I misunderstand? No problem. I have no qualms with being your subordinate either. You feel like we have met before? It's true that after awakening from my dream of chaos, I have traveled to many places. Sadly, the more friends I make, the lonelier I feel. Perhaps we are alike in that respect. As you can see, I note down only my experiences and insights, rather than any specific kung fu moves. What really matters to the martial arts is your intent. If you let yourself be constrained by those gaudy forms, you will find it hard to break out of them. Take Dusk's paintings, for example. If I couldn't grasp the intent behind them and sought to discuss techniques and styles with her, she would only shut the door on my face. I agreed to be a fight choreographer for Nian's movie. It keeps her from making too much of a racket or getting too lonely. Dusk is timid, and Ling is too fond of drink. I will look after them as well. We are far from a normal family. Nevertheless, we are siblings, and not the collective we, as we are often called. Who am I? For this question, you need only gaze upon the water. Be it human, beast, mountains, foggy woods, or the reflection of the twin moons on the night sky, whatever it is you see, that is your answer. As for the distant, radically different future, whether we siblings will return to chaos and seek new answers, is an entirely different question. The scholars at court seek perfect answers in everything. The kung fu practitioners who wander in Jianghu seek revenge, status, glory, or a simple resolution. Their obsessions run deep, yet their time runs short. Often they spend their whole lifetimes chasing a single ideal or undertaking. Hey, all those people. How woeful and pitiful. How respectable and regrettable. The spring comes and goes, leaving a lonely autumn. Doctor, I did not see you at this morning's training session.
Oh no! Have to come clear here. I have been a follower of Yongjia for a really long time. Not so much as a voice actor, but rather for his news and media coverage. Thus I was worried my perception of him would influence me when analyzing his performance. However, I am happy to inform you all that was not the case. As if they had taken notice of the previous points I once mentioned regarding the Sui sisters, about how hard it is to believe we were hearing mortals talk, Mr. Ya went out of his way to deliver a performance which not only had wisdom on his tone, but also nostalgia and even longing for those left behind by time, managing to portray the older sibling as a man who has seen and experienced a lot, and learned from said experiences, molding him into the immortal who has a certain envy of mortals, yet also managing to keep him humble and eager to learn and discover new things. The perfect depiction of an eternal student and the perfect contender for this list. If he lost the number 1 spot, it was because of how perfect said performance is. But first, we have another list to finish.
Young out. Doctor, compared to the old ones, today's battles are too relaxed and juvenile. They're weak enough to make weapons rust. And once a warrior's weapons rust, death soon follows. Life is but a brief flicker before the vast maw of annihilation. Cherish that view of the sunset while you still can, Doctor. I'm not concerned with the plight of the infected. Don't misunderstand me. Fighting in vain is what I hate. No enemy worth spilling my blood has come forward, and that's all there is to it. Doctor, help me fetch those seeds in the cupboard, won't you? Thank you. Yes, I'm actually quite fond of flowers. No matter how brilliantly they blossom, their petals must wither and fall into the wind. When will the petals wither next, Doctor? Rampant slaughter liberates your inner instinct. Teamwork only robs you of it. What trust and strategizing buy you are nothing but illusions of security. And these illusions, Doctor, will one day cost you your life.
Like I said at the beginning, it was hard for me to choose those who will be in this side of the list, and I had troubles deciding how the top 3 lineup will go. Base Scud is a bit of a miss, but Heralder more than makes up for it. Ling is a bit contained, yet still has the energy within her lines to understand what kind of character she is. And Flamebringer? Well, I have no beef with Mercer Buffet, delivery is our tone. So why is he at the top of the Mistuned list? Well, he sounds way older. Just as Sarah Owens before him, Mr. Buffet's voice will be perfect for older characters like his previously voiced daughter, or maybe even Helagur, as he can give it an edge to it, while also keeping it honorable. If anything, I am placing Flamebringer as number 1, not because of bad delivery, but because of bad casting. This is a great voice, given to the wrong character, and I hope this can be remedied in the future. But given how many of my past gripes have been addressed as time goes on, I have no doubt Mr. Buffy will be given more room to shine. As for now though, I'm afraid he lands at the top of the Mistuned list.
Doctor, here is the paperwork. Is it strange to see me on clerical errands? The truth is, compared to battle, I much prefer writing. Doctor, look outside the window. The night is quiet and peaceful. Up until now, every night has been filled with the red light of fire and the stench of burning. I only feel easier on nights like tonight. This spear, I am not able to fully use its power. Despite that, I've had it take so many lives. Guilt? No, I have no guilt. After all, our lives are all equally worthless. I am a shadow, but I do not spurn that. I am only able to stay here incognito because I am a shadow. However, if someone with the same face as me ever finds you, do not fight her. You will die. I don't want you dead.
There's a lot more I can do for you now. More than secretarial work. I won't be opposed to fighting anymore. But still, to be here, writing for you is a great honor of mine. I'm still no more than a shadow, but not my sisters. Dublin's flame is lit by so many people, so many ideals. And the shadow cast by that firelight, that is what I am now. It's getting dark. Around this hour, there'd be people walking leisurely along the grey pavements, perhaps foul beasts gathering by the ponds.
That is the Tara I remember. It's no special thing, but neither has it truly existed before. Doctor, I believe everyone should have a home to welcome them back. In my spare time, I still like prose and poetry, both reading and writing, and I like to hear others sing. I know a few folk songs, very pretty ones, but no record has been made of them. Doctor, have you ever heard how the stems of reeds can be used as whistles? Yes, the reeds that would burn away at the brush of a flame. My mind's not at peace, Doctor. Is my every choice truly right? Their lives stoke our flames in the night. Yet, in the end, if they fail to burn through the darkness, no, why should their lives even be mine to dictate? But still, I will walk on. Now, I bear a duty, and I will walk on. Not a word needed. It's always so tranquil by your side. The poems I've transcribed, I can read them to you, if you're interested. It's okay if you don't understand Tehran. Perhaps you'll still feel the emotions touch.
Was there ever any doubt she would reach this spot? Like Irene and Rie Kagumilla, Reed was destined to be voiced by Martha McIntosh, whose gentle delivery perfectly conveys Reed's doubts and regrets in her base form, yet manages to make her grow into a powerful but gentle leader once she rises to the occasion, going from the meek girl hardly trying to become a non-existence into the strong woman working to build a country for her kin. Still regretful of her past, yet determined to make amends with it. Not for revenge, neither because someone told her to, but because this is the answer she found, and her determination will be there to see her through to the very end. Yet, it doesn't stop there. We can feel her loneliness as well as her love for life. Yes, love for life. The demure girl who once hoped to be extinguished in the battlefield now marches forward for the sake of others. As we say in organizational psychology, the perfect leader is not the one who tells you what to do, but who shows you how to do it. And Reed, in both of her versions, is the story of a perfect leader in the making, and the rightful owner of the first spot in this video. And that's the list. Honestly, I'm starting to doubt keeping making these videos, not because I don't like them, but because the Mistuned side is getting harder and harder to make, and I will hate having to bend myself in order to fill it. Or what do you think? Should I keep making these videos, or should I make some changes to make it work? And regarding the voices, do you like what you heard? Or would you prefer other voice actors to join in the Land of Terror? Personally, I would love to have a certain Scotsman join Rhodes Island. But that's just a dream of mine. For now, I have to go back to the waking world, where the hard work has to be made, and where you can be of help by liking, sharing and subscribing, as to see more dreams hit reality. This has been Dr. Blow, thanking you all for your time, and as always, stay healthy everyone.